Hello, I'm Andrea Heng. I'm a millennial with just about 25 years to go before I retire, but I have no retirement funds saved up yet. Welcome to the Money Talks podcast, everybody. And we're here to talk about retirement. Let me tell you, retirement anxiety, it's real. You just heard it from me. And especially when you read things like Singaporeans underestimate how much is needed to retire, or you get messages like it's never too late, but start now. So how do we know what is enough then? And why shouldn't you wait till maybe 50 years old to start saving up your retirement funds? Well, I hope it isn't too late to ask for help now from OCBC's Wealth Management Head, Siew Lee. Hello, Siew Lee.
Hello, Andrea.
Hi. So are you afraid for me?
Not really.
Okay, good,
You still have a chance.
I have hope.
Yes, you still have a chance.
I won't ask your age, but do you have retirement anxiety like I do? Please tell me I'm not the only one.
No, I don't have.
Okay.
Probably it's because of my occupation, my job.
Yeah, sure.
That I know that I need to plan for my retirement. So I started planning for my retirement since I start working, the first day of work. Yeah, because I know that you need to plan for retirement early, no matter how small you put aside.
Who taught you that?
Myself.
Wow. And where did you get this idea that, okay,
I don't
need
know.
to start?
It just dawned on me that I need to start. Maybe I don't come from a well-to-do family. I know I cannot depend on my parent. In fact, I need to start working as soon as I graduate, right, so that I can provide for them. And I got to provide for myself, right? I didn't think of getting married. I just thought of I should work very hard. I should make sure that I don't fall sick, right? So insurance is top of my mind, right? Of course, savings, right? And then after that, I said, okay, then I need to save some money for my parents, and then I start saving for retirement, no matter how small it is. So it just dawned on me. Maybe it's like, maybe
it's
from
fear, right?
It's like a fear because it's like if you don't come from a well-to-do family, it's like you need to make sure that everything is A-okay.
You have a survey that says 75% aren't on track with our retirement planning. Why is this the case?
When we speak to clients, right, or anyone that we speak to, like our friends and all, they say, isn't savings a form of retirement planning?
Correct.
But they do not know that there's such thing as inflation. When you're going to retire. So all these financial talks, starts coming up, right? So I think it's about the knowledge, right? Why we should start planning for retirement right now, especially when you are younger. Your runway is longer. The power of compounding is stronger, right? Versus if you start planning at 50 years old, which is what has been revealed in our Financial Wellness Index in 2024, where they say that most of them started planning when they are 50, but yet they are not on track to meet their retirement goals. Why is that so? Because to your point, you only have 25 years to go. If I'm 50, I only have 15 years. Let's say we take 65 as the retirement age.
Correct,
right?
yes.
15 years versus 25 years is a huge difference when it comes to compounding
10
effect.
years can do a lot.
Yes, exactly. That's why we are not on track. And because of this, a lot of my friends at that age actually told me that then I have to scale down my lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yes.
Then the next thing they tell us is I got my house. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. So it's like savings, housing, right? Then I said, yes, I do agree that you can probably at a certain age, you can talk about, right sizing or downsizing.
Correct.
But that's not the point.
Yeah.
Even if I'm willing to downsize or right size, right, I need to find someone to buy my existing house.
Yeah, correct.
And we all know, and depending on how lucky you are, it's difficult to find a buyer. It all depends, right?
And it depends on the age of your house, the condition of your house, what the market is like at the time that you're selling it also. I suppose, there are sacrifices that we still do need to make when we start to retire, right? Just to make sure we have enough funds. Your point is, we shouldn't be doing that much of a sacrifice by the time you get there, right?
Correct.
So is it normal to think of retirement as this very last item on the checklist, the last thing to do when we have X amount, right? After expenses, we invest in kids and healthcare. And arguably, those two are pretty high key for many of us, right? And it seems to me that once these expenses ease up, then I can say, okay, then we can think of retirement now. That's why you end up having people starting to plan for retirement at 50 because their kids are grown up, healthcare sorted, insurance sorted. Why is this an issue, though? If we're continuing to work till 65 and 15 years it's still a runway still, right?
Yeah, but runway is shorter, right? So you may need to set aside more, right? Because the runway is shorter, the power of compounding has lessened. You got to set aside more. And that point in time, while we can say that your expenses, your kids' education has been taken care of, but not forgetting age starts creeping in, health issues will start creeping in.
Yes.
Right, depending on how serious it is in a magnitude of 1 to 10. So your expenses on that front will start to increase. You need to put your money to work faster, which would mean that you need to put your money into riskier investment.
Right.
But depending, if let's say you're not working, and maybe you're of okay health but still some issues, right? You can't put your money into very, very high risk investment products to catch up for that lack of time.
Yeah, you want a shorter runway, sure, but you're going to have to shoulder some risk, right?
We all know there's high risk, high returns, right? And Singaporeans, or generally, we are not risk-taking when it comes to investments.
Now, Siew Lee, I personally think that millennials tend to be more vulnerable to this than other generations when it comes to planning for retirement, delaying it even, because we are the sandwich generation. We're at the peak of our careers, but our expenses also stretch wider. Do you think millennials are structurally more at a disadvantage to kickstart retirement savings, considering cost of living, stagnant wages, perhaps, the fact that we're a sandwich generation?
I do not think so. That's my view. Because as millennials, in terms of job prospects, right, I think it's better than where our parents came from when it comes to job prospects.
Okay.
I think the average wage is reasonable, I would say. Retirement planning does not have to take a back seat. You just, like I said, you just need to start. You can start very small. Even with $100 a month into a monthly investment plan, that will work as well, right? Because again, I cannot stress enough the power of compounding. So it's not about whether I'm in this age of life, I don't want to talk about planning for retirement because I can do it later. So let me give you an example. When we talked about the Gen Zs, they say, I'm very young. I got lots of time.
Yes.
That's not my priority right now.
Youth is wasted on the young, they say.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, it's true, but you should, whatever you have, instead of spending, beyond your means to keep up with your peers or something, maybe you should put that sum in, maybe $100 or $200 into some retirement plans or something like that. So back to your sandwich generation, it is the same thing. They say that, okay, I need to take care of my parents, I need to take care of my kids. Children's education is very important, but that doesn't mean that you have nothing left, right? Instead of like going to a fanciful restaurants like once a week, maybe you can do it twice a month so that the sum of money you can put it into a retirement plan.
Yeah, spread it out.
Spread it out. So it's not about one or the other. Although in a basic financial planning 101, we just say that you need to save how much for emergency cash, get your insurance first sorted, and then talk about children's education.
Correct. There's allocation.
There's an allocation.
Funds.
But you can always do that at the same time. Right? Of course, you don't want to put so much on retirement planning and not being able to enjoy yourself, which leads to mental stress, right?
Yeah.
So we always say that you just need to spread your funds accordingly.
What do Singaporeans typically tend to get wrong when it comes to planning for their retirement savings? And how can we unlearn some of these mistakes?
It's about priority. I won't say it's wrong. It's not wrong. It's just that they prioritize one over the other, right? So you need to unlearn by like what I mentioned just now, right? To say that it's not in this chronological order. If your income or situation permits, you should do all things at the same time. After, of course, you still need to set aside 6 months of your, income as emergency cash.
Sure.
After that, you just need to spread out, right? Of course, one of my colleagues told me, one third. I say, where did you get the one third? She said that, one third in your whatever income you have, one third in savings, one third in probably investments where you can invest for retirement or children's education for growth, and the other one third to enjoy yourself.
Okay.
I don't think it's wrong. It's just prioritization. You don't need to sacrifice one over the other.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point to make. A lot of us think that, it's really one versus the other.
Correct.
And that they cannot coexist in your financial life, right? Now, let's get down to the nuts and bolts, Siew Lee. What are my must-haves when building my retirement savings? Is it enough to depend on, say, my CPF basic retirement sum? For someone who has absolutely no idea where to start, is there like a ballpark figure that you can give me? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but for someone who has no idea how to start, how much would I actually need in numbers?
If I looked at it in our financial wellness index for 2024, right, we had 3 lifestyle. The first basic retirement lifestyle will be like owning and live in HDB property, commutes via public transport. That one is about $2,725 a month, to be exact, very exact.
Right.
Retirement lifestyle B will be owns and live in HDB property, commutes via taxi or your own mid-range car, right? Employs part-time domestic helper.
Okay.
Right? So that's about $3,430,
Okay.
right? For retirement lifestyle C will be owns a high-end car, live in a private property, employs a full-time domestic helper. That's about $6,150. So if you ask me, depending on which lifestyle you want in, let's say, 25 years' time,
Correct.
we've got to factor in inflation
Of course.
into the years, right? If you talk about now, you need $6,150 to maintain the lifestyle C.
Yeah.
Let's say your savings per month is only about $3,000. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah,
it ain't
obviously
gonna
not.
Work. Yeah, it ain't gonna work. So what do you need to do?
Yeah.
Right? If you, of course, there are tools out there.
Sure.
Many tools out there, whether is it from financial institutions or from digital banks. They will ask you to punch in how much you want. Let's say you punch in $6,150. They'll tell you this is how much you need like now to invest. So the number always scares a lot of people, right? So when we look back at our statistics that we have, because we are the so-called one of the pioneers, or rather the pioneer into retirement planning, right? Based on the numbers, all the plannings that have been done by our customers with us, averagely is about $1.3 million. But that was many years back, like haven't factored inflation.
Sure,
that was like,
It is a scary number.
It is a scary number at that point in time.
Right.
At that point in time, it was very scary. In fact, I think it was about 1.5 or something. It's scary. Now, probably, I don't know, maybe 2.7. I'm not sure.
That's even scarier.
Even scarier. I do not know, right? We need to punch in the calculator to do that, right?
Sure.
So is it achievable? The answer is yes. You just need to start now.
Yeah, it's the starting early.
It's the starting
counts.
early.
Yeah,
correct.
Now, I want to talk about life scenarios that may throw us off our retirement savings goals. The kids, elderly parents, mid-career switching, which is quite common and even encouraged for our millennial generation, being out of a job. Sometimes curveballs happen, right? And we would say to ourselves, okay, so here's a financial expense that I now need to accommodate. So I have to change my retirement savings goal. It's a bit of a sacrifice question here, but how do we recalibrate our retirement savings when these things happen? We know it's not the end of the road. How do we prevent ourselves from feeling that it is?
Help is always around, right? It's always good. Okay, whenever I told my friends, you should actually review your portfolios, all your plans and all these things, at least half a year, right? Or they say, never mind, minimally a year, because I said, got no time, And say, I don't want to spend time talking to a financial advisor, but it helps talking to them.
Yeah.
Right, because you need to update them. This is like your existing portfolio. Something has happened, maybe because I got a newborn, expenses will be higher, right? And stuff like that, right? So they will help you to recalibrate. They have tools, right, within each financial institutions or whatever. They have tools, right, to be able to assist you to recalibrate your portfolio according to your life stage, according to your risk profile. Because once you have a newborn, you can be a client who can take a lot of risk to someone who now take a moderate risk.
Yes.
So they will rebalance your portfolio and then advise you accordingly.
And not forgetting, of course, tools that are out there that you can help yourself with mortgage, things like your CPF tools, your HDB tools, stuff like that as well, on top of speaking to the financial institutions, right?
Yes.
Well, that's really reassuring. So, Siew Lee, before I let you go, any last thoughts, any last pieces of advice that you have for us, or for me especially?
It's important that you need to be aware that you have this retirement anxiety. Because if you are not aware, then it's no matter who says what, right, you will never be able to think that retirement planning is a priority. So it's good, Andrea, that you have self-awareness, that you are really, really anxious about retirement. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I will now kick myself in the butt and start planning ahead. And I'll just change numbers with you too.
Sure, little friend. Yeah, okay.
So you heard what Siew Lee had to say. Now it's time to put the pedal to the metal. Money Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well. Don't forget to rate us and leave us a message. I do read those from time to time. If you've got any feedback, or even better, if you have an idea for a Money Talks episode. Thanks also to Crispina Robert, Tiffany Ang, Junaini Johari, Joanne Chan, Hanida Amin, and Saya Wint. Thank you for listening and watching Money Talks. I'm Andrea Heng.